This is the Schmo with the pro, with the future Hall of Famer, Jon Anik, the UFC play-by-play man. Here outside the Flash Forum Arena, how we doing?
We're doing great, man. I'm a little starstruck by your presence, but I'm going to try to rise above it and not get too nervous here.
Listen, the Schmo's loving this stash. We're a little jealous. We can't grow it out like you. Why'd you decide to do it for this trip?
So I have a mustache when I'm home with my kids, and I made the decision to wear it on TV for the Poirier-Hooker fight, and I sort of felt like as long as Dana White was okay with it, then we're going to go with it. So I hope fans like it because it's not going away anytime soon.
Last time the Schmo checked, this isn't the New York Yankees. We don't have to shave all the facial hair.
That's right. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan. You can wear a beard in Boston. So it's the mustache for now. And as long as I'm in shape, I feel like I can probably get away with it. But if I'm heavy, it's not a great look.
The other night, we just completed our first event here at Fight Island, UFC 251. What are your overall thoughts and feels of the event?
Petr Yan, right? I mean, how do you start anywhere else but then with that Russian boxer, the 27-year-old? I just love watching him fight. I've actually only seen him fight live twice, but just blown away by this kid, the presence. I also think fatherhood has sort of given him a maturity and a wisdom that sort of belies his years, but love the high guard, love all the strikes, the stance switch when things got tough. Couldn't have more respect for Petr Yan, and all of us on the live production team are very excited with that pay-per-view number as well. So we're very happy with the early returns on 251.
And your initial thoughts of Fight Island, did it live up to expectations or go above and beyond?
Well, I think you'd agree with me that it has exceeded expectations. We felt like we were pretty buttoned up here in Las Vegas. This is next level, totally world class. Nicest hotel I've ever been in, nicest hotel shower I've ever had. If I didn't have 3 kids, I probably wouldn't want to leave.
Yes. Now let's talk about UFC Fight Night 1. Your partner on the broadcast, you got the 3-man team. You're going to have Michael Bisping, and you have Paul Felder, who's going to be leaving to go in the corner of Jared Flash Gordon. What are going to be the logistics of that situation?
It's a really cool dynamic. We've done it once before. Daniel Cormier cornered Luke Rockhold, in like a suit and tie, which I thought was pretty cool. So we will outro Felder. He'll go corner Jared. Michael Bisping and I will handle that fight, and then Paul will come back. But, Paul has called one of Jared's fights before when he, I think, got knocked out by Joaquim Silva, and Paul was really emotional. So I actually think this is a blessing in disguise in more ways than one. Jared gets a good corner man, and Paul doesn't have to deal with the emotions of calling a fight involving not just a teammate, but one of his closest friends. So we're ready.
The boss man, Dana White, he's ready to look and buy property here in Abu Dhabi. A lot of fights to come here. Joe Rogan, your longtime broadcast partner, he doesn't really do international fights. What are you going to do, Jon Anik, to convince him to do these international fights?
So when Gilbert Burns came down with COVID-19, I texted Joe, and it's sort of tongue-in-cheek, but I said, hey, man, we could probably do Usman Burns without you, but Gamebred's coming, kind of need you for this one. And he said, yeah, man, we'll be watching at home. But I'm hopeful that we will get Joe here if there's a situation where we could do back-to-back shows. But I'm not holding my breath, man. He hasn't been out of North America in a while, but just rest assured, it's through no lack of effort from me. Every time there's an international pay-per-view when we're going to Perth, I'm saying, let's go, bro. But at least as yet, he's staying home.
Where do we stand on the tattoo bets? What's the update?
So the Gamebred tattoo is a bet that, I'm going to get a tattoo with Gamebred. It's just a matter of time. I'm going to go with Jorge Masvidal, and he's going to get his touched up. I'm going to get my Gamebred done. Yes, if he had beaten Kamaru Usman, that would have expedited the process a little bit, but we're going to get that Gamebred ink. We're going to get the FE Element tattoo for Frankie Edgar as well. I'm going to be covered by the end of my broadcasting career, but nothing on the neck or the forehead, at least for now.
You said his name. Speaking of Gamebred, if you're him, who do you fight next? Who does Jon Anik want to see Gamebred fight next?
I'd like it to be Conor McGregor. I certainly wouldn't turn my nose up at a rematch against Nathan Diaz. I mean, it sounds trite, but the world is really his oyster right now. I mean, he drove this pay-per-view number with respect to the UFC welterweight champ Kamaru Usman, and I think any big fight that Jorge Masvidal has an appetite for, his management and the UFC brass would probably share that same vision. So.
John, the Schmo sees you schwitzing, I'm schwitzing. It's 100+ degrees here. It's the evening. It's humid. We'll get you out of here on this. What's the one fight that you're looking forward to the most for UFC Fight Night 1 here July 15th? It's Wednesday evening over in the States, right. Thursday morning, our time.
So you and I talked off the air about Munir Lazzez making his UFC debut against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who's been out since September of 2018. That is the main card opener for a reason. But how do you bury the lead and not talk about this main event? I mean, this this is bulletproof matchmaking with Calvin Kattar and Dan Ige. A lot of respect for both guys taking the fight because, you know, Calvin Kattar has a high ranking. He's number 6 in the world. Maybe he didn't need to take this fight, but he feels like the best way to make a statement is to stay active, put on a show in front of the boss. And I do think it stands to reason, given that the featherweight belt was on the line just a few days ago. The winner of this fight can ask for a title shot, and I don't think that they would be out of line to do so. So we're ready to go, and we're glad you made the trip.
Yes, we're glad to be here too. No shortage of heart and skill from those two guys. Final message for the Jon Anik fans out there worldwide.
Well, if you're not following this guy and watching all the content that this guy's doing, I don't know what to tell you. You know, he didn't even have to grow on me. From the first time I saw the Schmo do an interview, I was all in. But if you want another podcast, the Anik and Florian podcast is out there as well. But love this guy, and I appreciate you, man.
Check it out. The Schmo's going to be a guest on the Anik Florian podcast.
Yeah, we got to push the numbers. We got to get the Schmo. Got to get the numbers up. So we'll have you on soon.
All right, we got to get a Schma tee for you and the Schmo. We'll get back in there. He's the pro. I'm the Schmo in Abu Dhabi, Fight Island. We're out.